Hey everybody, it is Chris and I have a slightly different video that is going to be mostly fun for me, might be fun for some of you out there. If you're into Ninja Turtles, if you're into toys, if you're into the comics, you might get something out of this. I don't know for sure, but I may have the largest purely Donatello collection in the world. Now, I'm sure that there are tons of people out there with Ninja Turtle everything, from bed covers to posters, comics, movies, and toys. I'm talking just about basically action figures and related sort of dolls. I, for some reason, am totally interested, and it must be my collector's mentality. I just love finding all the variations of Donatello that have ever been produced as action figures and trying to get them all. Now, I definitely don't have them all, so there's every chance that there are people out there that have more, but this is going to be a pretty long video. I'm just going to show off my collection, and hopefully it's just something you can sort of throw on your TV or your computer or your iPhone and just veg out to, because that's all it's meant to be. So first up, I have one that I like a lot. This is a 1/6 scale Donatello. So definitely among the larger ones that I have. And this is by Mondo, which mostly does things like posters and t-shirts and stuff like that. But they also produced this really amazing version of Donatello. And just because I've got so much to go through, I'm not taking every single one out and reviewing every part of it. But this comes with a lot of great stuff. You can see that he's got his purple mask, but they also have a duplicate head with a red mask if you want it completely comics accurate, because this is absolutely based on the Eastman and Laird designs from the original comics Mirage Publishing put out. It comes with a baby turtle. It comes with a sci-fi type of gun. Of course, his bow staff. If I flip it around, you can see some of these other things better. There's like a grappling hook that he can use. I'm going to lift it up, and there's some different types of shuriken throwing stars, and even different hands for different stuff. Like these are for climbing. They have like little grips on them, and then he's got a hand for just giving the thumbs up. And the hands that he comes with are sort of fists that can hold his bow staff. And then they even give you an Utrom. This is not necessarily the evil Krang. This is an Utrom, one of the aliens that appeared in some of the early comics there. So anyway, I love this one. Gonna put this aside now, move on to the next. Here's a quick one. Got a Christmas Donatello based on the current Nickelodeon cartoon. Well, actually, this cartoon's ending, but anyway, this guy can stand up on his own. He's huge, so it's hard to fit him in the frame. I'll just sort of hold him sideways. He's plush, but he's got stiff legs. This is a Christmas decoration, and we tend to put him up somewhere around the house every year. Hello. He's kind of adorable. Here's another slightly strange one. Build-A-Bear briefly had a thing where you could make your own Ninja Turtle, again, based on the design from the computer animated Nickelodeon show. He's got his cute little shell here, which actually is more like a backpack. These like straps hold it on, and you fill him up. And does he talk? I feel like he talks, but I can't remember where I put the
I am so pumped! Hold up, I'm the smartest. I love being a turtle! I am so pumped!
Okay, so he's got 3 phrases recorded by voice actor Rob Paulson. He did the Raphael voice in the 80s and 90s original cartoon, and then he came back to voice Donatello. I love him, so I'm going to try to jam this guy back into his Build-A-Bear box and see what else we've got. There's no chronological order to any of this, so some of this will be new, some of it will be old. This one's more on the new side. Pretty big scale mashup between Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Pretty strange. This is by Playmates. Most of this stuff will be by Playmates. They're known for just making all sorts of crazy variations. All things considered, this probably is not the craziest. You will see some weirdest ones. I like a lot of the detail that they have on this. It doesn't have a ton of articulation or anything, but, you know, they've got some nice simplified Ghostbusters-esque doodads and gizmos and this weird terror dog. So this is Donatello as Egon Spengler. That makes sense. As far as like a mashup goes, yeah, the nerd playing the nerdiest guy. That makes sense. Here's the rest of them. Michelangelo as Venkman does make sense, but Venkman can be thought of as the leader, so you might go with Leonardo. But no, Michelangelo is the most sarcastic. However, that hairline is kind of disturbing, actually. I don't love that. Look, Raphael has a mustache because he's Winston. All right, moving on. Here's the second wrestler version that they made. This is Donatello as the Ultimate Warrior. Don't ask me how that makes any sense. I don't see any similarities between these two characters. Let's see. Raphael is The Rock. Sure. Leonardo is Finn Balor. If you say so. Michelangelo is Roddy Piper. Okay, I can buy that. So they basically just said, here's 4 popular superstars, and match them up however you guys want. But that is an interesting mashup. Don't quite get it. I'm amused by how crazy it is. Wow. I have a lot of Lego sets and Mega Bloks sets as long as they come with a Donatello figure. Haven't built this one yet. A lot of the reason that some of these are in boxes and something like this hasn't been built is I have nowhere in my current home to display them. I don't have shelves or anything along those lines that I could easily display this stuff in. So it actually, most of the time, is all set aside, organized in boxes in one of the rooms down in my basement. It's nice, it's clean, it's, you know, set aside so it's not in our way. But I wish I could show all these off in a case at some point, sort of in a chronological or thematic order. But yeah, so I liked these Mega Bloks sets. I don't think that they sold that well, actually, because you could probably find this for like half price in a Toys R Us these days. But I got it right away. This Donatello is a little different, this figure, because he's got like a skull painted on his chest for some reason. And he's got an action feature. If you push a button on the back, he swings his arm up and down. So that's kind of cool. On camera, this looks a little blue, but trust me, in person, this is very purple. So hopefully the color is balanced out when I edit it and all. Here's another fairly recent one that I haven't been able to open. Samurai. I love this. Sometimes it frustrates me that Playmates doesn't make their stuff overly posable. But since I don't really play with these, I really just want to display them all. That's fine with me. I think this is a really cool look. Comes with this elaborate samurai helmet and some sort of an animal mask. It looks like a crocodile. Maybe that was explained in the cartoon. I haven't seen them all. Like I say, I mostly just sort of collect the action figures. So I guess that there must have been a story where they went back in time and met Usagi Yojimbo. They did that in some early comics, so that's kind of cool that they're still doing that in versions of the cartoon and modern comics. But I like that guy. Oh, here's one of my favorites. This one's great. This is by SH Figuarts, a Japanese company. And you can find this now in Barnes & Nobles. They've imported it, but I imported it from Japan. So there's a bunch of Japanese writing here and there on it. This is great. It's very much based on the 1980s cartoon look. Hopefully you can sort of see his face if I angle it just right. He comes with 2 heads. One is just sort of serious. There's his eyes up here. And then there's one that's like sort of goofier with a big old smile. You see that? It's this face. I love it. It's very posable, really high quality plastic. It has a very specific look. Yeah, this is definitely one of the better figures that's ever been in there. At first glance, this is just a truck, but now it comes with a little Donatello figure. So here's his trash truck. These are the Ninja Turtle Micro Mutants. Very small, but surprisingly detailed and posable for being that small. So that's kind of cute. Speaking of small, they've made several of these Mini-Mate sets, and let's see, I would call that like, that's sort of almost a basic Donatello, except he comes with a welding mask and a slightly different expression than the original Mini-Mates version that was released. Comes with some sort of alien. Who cares? Because I only care about the Donatello. And some Mousers and some Moos. I like that. These are actually keychains. So, yeah, you can sort of hear that. These are also key rings. I like this one a little bit more. Spacesuit and Fugitoid, the early character that Mirage Studios had created independent from Turtles, but they quickly sort of crossed them over, and Fugitoid became an important ally of the Turtles. And I really like Donatello's helmet there. It's actually, if you look at it, it is not a Mini-Mate's head within a glass bubble. It is painted on. So that's hollow. It's a little funny looking, but it's cool. It's a nice little variation. I've got some blind bagged Mego Bloks figures. There's a Space Donatello. He does have an actual head in there. You can kind of see. You can take this off. I like this look. The white and purple is quite sharp. Here's, for some reason, a hologram version. I don't know what that's supposed to indicate, but it's a variation, so I got it. Stealth Ninja, maybe? Maybe? I'm just guessing. Come on, hold on to your little bow staff. Basically, they found a lot of uses for the same figure mold here. And, yeah, I bought a Christmas Advent calendar just because it came with a ugly sweater Donatello. There's his pizza with purple gingerbread man and sardines, I guess. So that is my Christmas Donatello. Much smaller than the first one I showed you that had a big puffy guy. This is, yeah, that's Mego Bloks. This is not officially a Ninja Turtle. This was called a Karate Tortoise, and my girlfriend made it for me at one of those, what do you call them? Like where you make your own ceramic mugs, things like that. And she painted this guy for me because she knows I collect Ninja Turtles. So this is just sort of a knockoff mold that you can paint and glaze. But I think it looks quite cute. It's probably a little delicate, but feels sturdy. And it looks sharp. It's very shiny. I love it. Here was the first wrestler version. The second was Ultimate Warrior. This one is Undertaker, and I don't know which one makes less sense. I don't know what about Undertaker and Donatello matches up. He looks way more like Undertaker as a monster. Some of the others make a lot more sense to me. Like if you say like Leonardo is John Cena, I go sure. If you say Michelangelo could pass off as any of them because he's a goofball. But like as Macho Man, I love it. Raphael is Sting. I don't 100% get, but whatever. But this one is pretty weird. Donatello just doesn't feel like he has anything in common with Undertaker. So I kind of love the just weird novelty of this. This is just a really strange idea to mash up wrestling and Ninja Turtles. At least he comes with a championship belt. That's a little cool. Not very posable. Look at how sort of bulky and bulbous he is. And these were a little on the more expensive side at the time when it came out. Like up until then, they'd had, figures that were a little smaller and they were, maybe 10 to 15 bucks tops. This one was more like 20, and not as many of these were produced as some of the other toys that I'll come across. So for a while, this one was very hard to come across. Loyal Subjects makes all sorts of vinyl figurines. But these are somewhat posable, and they glow in the dark. Can't really show you too accurately, can I? No, there's too much light reflecting and stuff. I was seeing if I could create any darkness to show that it glows. It glows pretty well. This is one of the rarer examples of me having other Ninja Turtles because it only comes as a set. There's a few like that, not many. Not many. Each of them does have a slightly different head sculpt if you really look close. Like, okay, a little bit of teeth, no teeth. That guy's almost the same, but he's got a different eye expression. And then Michelangelo is all teeth. Anyway, just the novelty. The completionist in me gets stuff like this. This guy is pretty well made. This is... So he's slightly deformed intentionally, as in he's got a bigger head. Very much based on the original cartoon. He's got some swappable hands and a swappable head, believe it or not. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. He's heavy too, because this is actually metal. So beats me. But I think this comes in a bigger size, but it's the same exact sculpt, so I frequently won't bother getting the same figure if the only difference is scale. There's another Mega Bloks. This one is based on the recent live-action movies that were produced by Michael Bay. And he looks really mean in this. Way meaner than he looked in the movie. He was a total nerd in the movie. But I guess they couldn't really sculpt the glasses on him or something. I don't know. But same as the other Mega Bloks that you saw, basically. Here's a little close-up of him right in the middle. All right. Half-shell heroes. Little kid Donatello. Look at how happy he is. Look at the size of those eyeballs. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is for very little kids. And I have it because I'm a completionist. This is an unofficial one that I picked up in Vancouver at just this place that had all these tiny sort of bricks and what I block fun. Sure. It's meant to look sort of like Lego. They had all sorts of characters that they didn't have the license to, like Super Mario and stuff. But you'll notice it doesn't say Ninja Turtles or Donatello on it. It just... You know, come on, that's pretty obvious what that is. So, I like that. More Mega Blok variations. I really do like this one, though, just because it looks so much like the version in the original comics. Yeah, pretty cool. Apparently, I have the first 4 movies. I don't even remember picking this up, but this looks like one of those $5 DVDs you get at Walmart, so I guess I have these and forgot. Here is a Dorbs version. I think that's Funko Pop, right? I think Funko Pop makes Dorbs? I'm not sure. It says vinyl sugar on it, so maybe I'm wrong. It's just a vinyl toy. Dorbs, because he's adorable. Got it. Cool. Lots of Mega Bloks. Here's a Donatello that comes with a pizza-grabbing roadster. That sounds like the most stereotypical Ninja Turtles thing you could possibly have. And he's got 15 tattooed on his chest. I guess he was 15 in that cartoon? Just a guess. Here's a weird one. Pez. This is a Pez dispenser. And then you can attach arms and a back. So he's basically an action figure minus the feet. And then he has Pez in him. Okay. Found this at a dollar store. Keyring. More Mini-Mates, Toys R Us exclusive. All that means is that he's got that clear plastic. That's what they start doing when they're running out of ideas, I think. Any toy line. And it comes with a little Krang and his robot that the Krangs live in. This is what people give me, like thinking that I collect everything Donatello, and I'm like, no, just action figures, but here's Lip Balm. Donatello Lip Balm. Berry Blast. This is another Mega Bloks guy, but this one's made out of metal. So that's kind of cool. He's a little sturdier than the rest. Mini-Mates, in some sort of, okay, they call it Vision Quest. I do like this sort of mask that you can swap the heads out with. And then he comes with Shredder. Alright, not bad. There's an interesting mashup. Donatello as Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster. Call it Frankendon. But I can sort of see that. Yeah, he's an inventor. Just like Frankenstein. Leonardo got two. Look, he gets to be both a mummy and a monster hunter. What? And then Raphael gets to be both a vampire and a monster hunter. Raphael and Leonardo sell better than almost any of the others. Michelangelo also sells better. Donatello sells the worst out of all the four of them. So there are occasions where two of them might get sort of a variation, and then Donatello is left out. But you know what? That's easy on my wallet, so I'm fine with that. I kind of like this overall design. It's pretty weird. There's a Half-Shell Heroes Dojo Training Donatello. He's kind of cute. They call this Super Shredder Super Ninja Donnie. It just looks like he put a bunch of black paint and armor on himself, but yeah, alright. This must have been a cartoon storyline or something like that, because we've got Super Shredder here, but he doesn't look like the Super Shredder I remember from Ninja Turtles 2 back in like 1991. So I guess it's some sort of cartoon thing. Oh, this is an interesting one that a friend sent me. Look at this. I think this was my friend Will West sent me this guy. Look at the size of him. He's like he's not 12 inches, but he's probably like 10. Yeah. It looks like he'd make a sound or something, but he's just sort of a really big, almost Frankenstein himself. But that's fun. I like him. Rawr! He looks so angry. Calm down. When I was a kid, I loved micro machines. I really didn't. I had maybe like one, but I always thought they were cool. And that's sort of what this is. So you've got this baby Donatello, essentially, and his shell flips open, and you've got a big, elaborate lab with two little action figures inside. So that's an action figure, so I've got it. Yeah, I like it. It's got a bunch of funny play features, but again, I really don't play with these, but I would take this out of the box because I don't really plan on like investing in it or selling. I want to display this. I just don't have the shelf space right now, but someday I will. Tongue poppin' Nani. Try me. All right. Try it. Where's the... Okay. There's a little... It's stiff. Oh, that's disturbing. Why did they make this one? That is a really weird action feature. I can understand kicks and flips. I can't quite figure out what they were thinking with the tongue popping action. Wow. Wait, didn't I just have a Super Shredder Donatello? Oh no. I did, didn't I? Someone must have gotten me one as a gift. So I've got two. Okay, well, I'll have one as a giveaway on the show at some point. I'll set this aside, and here's a giveaway for the show. I'm not going to take this guy out of the box because I've already done a separate review, but this is a 1/6 scale 12-inch figure based on Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, and he very much looks exactly like he did in the movie. Tons of swappable hands. Every single thing he has, you basically can attach and move. His glasses come off, you know, his bow staff extends. Very elaborate, but I've done a separate review of just this. It's on my channel, so you can find that if you're curious. Here we've got the action figure version of that spacesuit, and this spacesuit can be completely removed. It's got some extra pieces. Put these on his hands to climb stuff, I guess. Yep. It's okay. This is, yeah, the Ninja Turtles movie Donatello Was this from the second movie? I can't yeah, this was the second movie because he's got a drone in it, and he had a drone in Out of the Shadows. It's, at first glance, this looks pretty detailed, but when you go up, you realize that he doesn't have a lot of articulation, and they kind of, it's not that detailed like the technology. It looks better from like back here. You're like, oh, he's got some color accents. He looks a little different, but it's only okay. Some mini-mates. This is again one of those instances where I have all four, and all four look almost exactly identical, but that guy down there, that's Donatello, so I had to pick that up. I don't think that, I think I got a good deal on this at a convention, so I don't feel too bad about that either. And I do like their original look, so that's kind of fun for me to have some Ninja Turtles with their original look. I like that. This guy's a little heavy. Die-cast metal, not posable. Oh wait, actually now that I think of it, I think his arms can move, like at his shoulders. Very different type of look. I mean, it's sort of like his original cartoon form, but not quite. Those eyes are very different, and of course he's got the different body proportions. I guess, yeah. So that's a little strange. They come in different sizes. That's what they're showing back here. So I've got the little version. There's a scaled up version. But like I say, I don't always feel obligated to simply get stuff in a different scale. That doesn't feel like enough of a difference for me. There's a weird one. Little sort of Beanie Baby, I guess. I don't know if these are the people that made Beanie Babies, but it looks kind of like that. I think this one was a gift. Head dropping Donatello. This was a, what do you call it, like a feature in the very first line of action figures, and they've continued to do it, and as they update the overall look of Turtles for whatever cartoon is out at the time. His legs sort of wobble there, but that's the action feature. When you squeeze them together, hold on, they're sort of stuck. His head is supposed to go down. Oh no, okay, I push his head down, squeeze them to pop it back up. Great. Well, I guess that's sort of a thing a turtle can do. So that action feature makes a little more sense than the tongue that sticks out, but not the most exciting. Toys R Us exclusive Mini-Mates. It's just Donatello with sort of a different face. I like the swappable one with the hearts. That's pretty funny. And the Utrom, which I actually think on this cartoon they called all of them the Krang. But anyway, a little different. I don't remember exactly how this guy works, but these things in the back will get caught. There's magnets in them, so his hand grabs them one at a time and flings them forward. And it does work, I just don't remember how to load it properly. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it works. This guy's pretty hard to find. There was briefly a one-season live-action TV show, Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. They made about like either 3 or 4 variations of each character. I only have the sort of basic Donatello, but there was a camouflage one and one with like an action feature of some sort that I'm not remembering. Those are really hard to find. I haven't been able to find them, so that's something I'm still looking for. But I've got this guy. I've got the basic one, and I've got his accessories in a box to my side. This is a sub that just came with a unique Donatello. We'll come across him later. I have no idea where I got this one. This is just, that's a wheel. That's a little figure. He just rolls along. And I think he could be any Ninja Turtle. This came out for the 2003 computer animated TMNT movie. But I'm pretty sure this actually is supposed to be Donatello. It might be Michelangelo since it's orange, but I think I have it because it was supposed to be Donatello. I don't know. I think I got this in a lot. I like this cute one. It's a tiny Funko Pop version. Cute. Turtles in Training, some sort of baby Donatello and Leonardo, and they're covered in mutagen. Weird. This is my favorite Donatello. This is based on the computer-animated Nickelodeon cartoon. Extremely posable. Comes with a different head. Comes with other weapons. But his dimensions are utterly unique. I mean, he really looks like the long, gawky, nerdy version. This is by Revoltech, a Japanese company. I think he is fantastic. This is just a really... This is probably my main favorite Donatello. And his fingers are individually posable, make it very easy to grip his weapon and put him in all sorts of unique poses. So this is definitely my favorite. Okay, here's one based on the second Ninja Turtles movie from recent days.
Does it get any better than this?
Yes, it does. It's sort of getting hung up on the packaging here, but you can move the backpack down and he talks a little bit. Not very posable. I don't think the knees don't even have articulation. So, and he's got sort of an extra big body here just so that there are some electronics housed in his fat little body. Here's another Mega Bloks variation. This one based on, again, that Out of the Shadows movie. And he lights up. Wow, pretty cool. I like this one, based on the second movie, Secret of the Ooze, 1991. One of the better ones that Playmates has done. Lots of articulation, some very different faces that you can swap in, a mop that he can fight with, because the second movie instantly started toning down the violence and they started fighting with just like whatever was at hand instead of actual swords and knives and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I really do. This is a really good one. As far as Playmates toys go, this is fairly top tier for Playmates. Another Half Shell Heroes little kids one. He comes with what? Some sort of road thing. Oh, it's a gripper. Cute. Now we're starting to get back in the past into the really strange ones that really got me into collecting this. Playmates just would do any sort of version they could think of. Here's Tournament Fighters, which is very clearly just meant to rip off the super popular Street Fighter series at the time. They just sort of made Donatello look like he belongs in that game, but didn't pay any royalties because they just called it Tournament Fighters. Clever! This guy's pretty rare. Not the most rare, but he's up there. Winged Warrior Donatello. He comes with metallic wings and a metallic coin. So this is definitely towards the end of the very first original Ninja Turtle line, and they just sort of went with tons of strange ideas in those last few days. This is one of the more basic figures, one of the most common ones you can find, Battle Shell Donatello. So the back of him opens up and you can put his weapon in 3 segments in there, or he's got a, I'm sorry, this is a 3-piece staff. That's cool. That makes sense. Here's a snap together model kit. So it isn't really posable, but except for, I think the arms, yeah, the arms move. And the legs move a little. So it's not super posable. This is very delicate, and all this stuff is stickers, so I don't know how long it will last, because it's a very oddly shaped body, so the stickers don't really want to cling all the way around. I have to assume someday this guy will sort of not last, his stickers will come off or something. It's a pretty delicate little guy. Let's see what else we have. Okay, we have some sort of like weird 2 versions of the Out of the Shadows guy. These are just sort of plastic figurines with limited posability. Very soft plastic. Doesn't feel like you could break it very easily. Bendy. Some sort of emoji version of Donatello. Like, this is literally just a ball. It's not a bouncy ball. It's hard plastic. Pretty strange. Very similar sort of translucent plastic to what we've seen before, except this is purple translucent, and his eyes are wide open like he's very surprised by something. A scooter, basically. You just sort of put this guy in the scooter, and that's it. He revs. So if you move, he sort of baby kicks. Looks like a kicky baby. And he's got 2 staffs for some reason. Arr! This is also relatively rare. This was basically just released. It was made by Playmates, but it was really only released in Japan. When the cartoon here ended, they did a original sort of movie version, and involved the turtles getting new powers, and yeah, so it's pretty weird. They sort of become robots. Ultra Turtles. Very strange. Japanese release only, I believe. So this one's definitely on the more rare side. This is a gift, bobblehead one. Okay. Looks a lot like that sort of metal one that I was showing earlier, if you remember that. This was from the, I'm pretty sure, 2003 movie, so definitely a much more unique look than anything else. Very flat sort of features, as in like it's been sort of flattened and squished. Blocky, maybe I should say, blocky. Pretty different type of guy, and he came with this vehicle. I got this one pretty cheap at some show or other. This is an accessory from a Japanese Ninja Turtle. I don't... We'll come across him. And here's like just something that was included somewhere else, but he's got like prongs on his feet. So this is attached to something. He doesn't move at all. He's just a statue. I don't know what he attached to. Maybe he was a cake topper or something like that. It's pretty basic. This is actually Playmates. You put this marble in his belly, and then you sort of squeeze him and he shoots the marble. So I guess it's a game. They call this one Donatello, and he is purple, although this picture has red bandana, so he sort of looks like Raphael. At least, you know, when this was coming out, see that logo? I mean, this was like original Turtles. Pretty weird. Yeah, you just push the bottom and he shoots out a marble, and there's a game with scores. Like what you knock down gives you certain points. Pretty strange. This did not catch on. I'm sure that this was like the age of like Pogs and stuff, and they were like, well, maybe marbles will work as well. Didn't, but I kind of dig how weird he is. Like, this is a very strange one, and for it to officially be from Playmates makes it even weirder to me. Here's one from that digitally animated movie TMNT. He looks pretty bad as his action figure because, as you can see, he has a wheel just coming out of his chest. Like, it's not hidden at all. You put in a cord, you pull the cord, and the wheel starts spinning. You put him on his belly on, like, this sort of skateboard type device, and he moves forward, like, on his belly. But, I mean, look at that. Like, you can't, like, ignore that. Like, you can't be fooled. It's a Donatello with a disc embedded in his chest. It looks like he's just been attacked by Shredder or something and had a manhole cover thrown halfway through him. What a strange gimmick. I mean, if they could have found a way, like, I would have said just, you know, mold this, what do you call it? Mold the skateboard onto his chest at this point, because he also has 3 holes for the skateboard to attach to. So he just looks strange without it. Just mold it all together, I guess. This one's a little rare. His arms are made out of a stretchy rubber, like Stretch Armstrong. I don't want to like play too hard with it, because who knows how long until this dries out and dies. But what makes this one especially rare is, wait a minute, this is Donatello. There's his bow staff. He's in purple. Who's that? What's this guy's name? Leo? Okay. On the back it says Don. That is flat out Leo on the front. So they must not have made these they must not have made many of these, because that is a weird error. This one's just a complete next mutation, but it's the same generic figure. It just has all the accessories and I guess is still boxed up. But yeah, it's the same one. There's some other variations of this that I do not own yet. But there was the logo for it. Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. Terrible show. Hilariously terrible. I think it's very hilarious. But yeah, the figures weren't too bad. They sort of made them a little more serious, and each one had a lot more variety from one another. Each of the turtles had much more distinguishing elements. Hello Kitty, Donatello. Sure. Hello Kitty, Donatello. That makes sense. What? This is among the strangest ones that I own. This is among the strangest ones that I own. But not necessarily the strangest. There's some more weird ones we're going to come across. All right, we are now going to get into mostly Playmates and strange versions of those Playmates. Probably don't recognize that version. I think it was released here in the States, but it was meant for the Japanese market when they did that original cartoon. This was a version of the Turtles. They could go from Turtles to Super Turtles. Pretty strange. More recent one, they went on sort of a vision quest. They dressed up as ninjas, went into the woods, and found their true nature. Something like that. This is unfortunately starting to bend a bit. That's too bad. That's too bad. This one is not really complete. This one I got at an okay price, but I would like to replace this. It's a mech. Some of these hoses are sort of breaking. That's how I got it. You can open up this, and there's a tiny Donatello, a removable Donatello in there. And if you look closely, even these screws are sort of rusty. So this one isn't in wonderful shape. I hope someday I can find a better version of this and maybe donate this to charity or something. Very interesting design, though. When trolls were a fad, yep, Playmates jumped on that. Donatello with troll hair. Of course, that's what every kid wanted. This is overly delicate. This was also, oh, see, this isn't broken. This just, underneath all of this metallized, vacuum sealed, you know, what do you call it? Metallized pieces. There is a Ninja Turtle, Donatello. This doesn't peg in very well. This is supposed to peg into his foot. It doesn't peg in that great. This was a version for the Japanese market. So he's complete. He just he needs to be sort of put together, assembled, and then delicately placed on a shelf because he's not really great for playing with. One of his wings is a little loose. It's complete. It just loose. And there's a little Mini-Mates, hold on, Mini-Mates keyring with the first one that they made. That's the default look Donatello had. You saw a bunch of variations, but this is the first one. Donatello in space from the original line, I think. Wait, nope. This version is definitely the second cartoon. This is, yeah, the cartoon that was in mostly the 90s. A little more of an angle and edge to the face. And that flips down. And he's ready to go into space. 90s cartoon. He's got an action feature of some sort. Okay, I'll just do this. And he... I didn't wind it up that much. He does sidekicks. I love the versions like this. Dracula Don. That's hilarious. There's no reason for this to exist. It's not like there was ever an episode or a comic book where Draculas were involved. No, they just made a toy where Donatello is Dracula. He's even got a widow's peak hairdo. That cracks me up. Not 100% sure what this... I think this was like a capsule toy in Japan. It's basically just a miniature posable Donnie. He's cute. Based on the Nickelodeon computer animated show. Here's the 90s cartoon. He's a scuba diver in this one. Looks like... I'm pulling these all out of a box, so sometimes they're missing like a piece or something, because most of my figures I have taken out of the box and I have displayed like at work and stuff like that. So yeah, like this guy's, one of his feet armor pieces at least has fallen into the box, but I've still got it. Basketball Donatello, and he has an action feature. We do that, and he goes... and you can't lose it. So that's, you know, just like real basketball players. They're always attaching a string to their basketball that looks like some sort of abused brain. I don't know. But this is the stuff that cracks me up. Like, it looks like Dr. Julius Irving or something with these goggles. I love it. I don't remember how to do this, but okay, so see that big head in that car? That doesn't make sense, right? Well, this is a transformer. This somehow... can't remember. I'll just sort of like fiddle with it for a second. But this transforms. Okay, hold on. Hold on, that's promising. I'm gonna break this if I'm not careful. I can't remember the steps. No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna put it back together. This is just becoming a mess. I can't remember how to do it. This guy, in good shape, is rare because, and I have it, but it comes with a cord that you stick through here, and that cord gets broken all the time. But when you pull the cord, it pulls off like a sound. You know, he starts talking. So this is Talking Donatello from the original line. Usually that zip cord that you put in there gets broken. I do have it, but it's fallen into the box, and I also don't really want to risk it right now. There's Donatello in the Air Force. Yep. United States Turtle Force. Vaguely American. And I do have his parachute that plugs in there. That's in a little bag of accessories I have to the side. But he has a parachute. And it works. You can toss this guy in the air, and that's kind of cool. That's fun. I think in the 90s cartoon, the Turtles went into the future at a certain point. So this is like a futuristic version of Donatello. Like, he's just got future tech vaguely all over him. This was... yeah, no feature. This is just the default original Donatello, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, no action feature. This is just the original Donatello. He's actually in pretty good shape, and I think that they've like re-released these, so, and it's the same mold. I don't know if it would even have a different imprint on the butt to tell it apart. Maybe. I haven't looked at it. This is a pretty cool modern one, Stealth Donatello. He's got his night vision goggles. I like it. I like this color scheme of like sort of a black stealth suit over most of his body. It's pretty different to see the Turtles wear much in terms of clothes. So this works for me. I quite like this color scheme. This was... oh boy, that looks inappropriate somehow. This guy's like rubbery. They made this out of like... see? It's like all soft rubber. And he's supposedly looking like his movie version, which is semi-accurate, actually. I think they did a good job with the sculpt of the face. Actually, a really good job on the sculpt of the face. The paint application, I don't think is great. Like, they had freckles, essentially, in the movie, the live-action movies. But these look like some sort of, like, warts or pimples or something. I don't think the paint application is great. And the rubbery feel is very strange. I'm really not sure why that exists. Like, what... was it cheaper or more expensive? I don't know. 90s one that forget how you wind him up. Oh, I just squeeze his legs. And that's about it. He just sort of shifts to the side and his arm, yeah, he just sort of spins his bow staff. Also from the 90s cartoon, Dirt Bike Rider Donatello. Actually, not a bad look at all. It's pretty cool. And they've positioned his arm so that he can grab a hold of these the throttle and the brake, and so that's kind of cool. It's not a bad motorcycle. Hard plastic all over, a decent amount of detail. Yeah, not bad. Boy, I guess he's supposed to be some sort of primitive Donatello. I think he may have come with like a dinosaur. This is the 90s cartoon version. If he came with a dinosaur, I don't think I have that. But it's an interesting look. This is one of the sillier ones. Look at this. What's it say there? Sewer spikers. This is Volleyball Donatello, and if you fill this soft backpack up with water, he spits it out of his mouth there. And he's got the upturned visor cap. He really looks like a beach bro. He's got a fanny pack with a D on it for Donatello. Like, this never existed in any version of like the cartoon or anything. He does not really look cool here, but it does amuse me. So this version is, I think, supposed to be in some sort of like dojo armor, but it looks like he's just ready to play baseball because of this hat, like this helmet, I should say. Does any of this fit on well? No, it's pretty loose. It snaps into place to a degree. Pretty weird, pretty weird. Not quite seen all the way through because it does not snap into place that great. I need a better one of this, but this is Sewer Splashing, I think it was called, and he's a wind-up that was actually supposed to, you were actually supposed to put this in the water. His wind-up doesn't work that great on mine. No, it just doesn't, it isn't working very well. He's seen better days, but he does kick. He sort of floats, but he sort of just goes in a circle. When I got this one, he was kind of loose and beaten up, so I do need a better version of this someday. This one isn't in great shape. This is probably the second worst shape I have after that, what do you call it, the mecha one. That isn't complete, really. This guy's pretty rough. This guy's not bad. He looks like the Flash villain Captain Cold, but yeah, Arctic Donatello. Okay, sure. I don't know if I'm missing these dumbbells or not. Like, I think it's in the bag of accessories. Anyway, weightlifting Donatello. And there's actually one that's a weightlifter that has an action feature, and I don't have that one. Wait, does this guy? Oh, wait, he does have an action feature. Okay, then there's a different one that I'm thinking of. Okay, this is going to spin right off when I hit the button. Oh, didn't that time. All right. And apparently, he already got a gold medal. Congratulations. All right, this is one of the most rare Donatellos I own. Yeah, that's Farmer Don. This is one of the toughest Donatellos to get, and it's just a farmer. He comes with a tractor, but I didn't want the tractor. I just want the figures. Yep, he's got a corncob pipe and some sort of a hat. He looks like he could be a farmer. I get it. This guy's weird. What's he do? I can't quite remember, but this might be one that's designed to pop out of an egg. He's not that springy, but I think that's what he does, is like you just sort of like bind him up, you put him in an egg, and when the egg opens, he just sort of springs up a little bit. What fun. Here's one. You just wind him up and oh my god, like, do any of these wind features work? Okay, he's sort of, I need to wind him a little more, but he walks. This is something like skydiving Donatello, and just like the other one, like, look, it says USTF, U.S. Turtle Force, and he's got the same sort of backpack. You can plug in a parachute. So there are 2 Donatellos that come with parachutes, but a different mold. Yeah. Camouflage Donatello. I have more of these that are in a bag of accessories. So you can. He's got like holes all over his body that you can peg it into. Like if you look closely, there's little holes in various places, so that you can just sort of put camo all over him. Kind of weird to have that sort of military theme, but I don't think that they'd go for that today. I mean, it's not that bad, but look, he does actually have like a pistol here. His arm isn't very posable, but yeah, he's got a sculpted pistol there. Something you wouldn't really think you'd see in Ninja Turtles. But this guy's got a gun. This is slightly rare. Ninja Knights Donatello. He's got gold armor. Yeah, not the most common one, so that's kind of cool. I like him. Here's another one that's a little rare. Cyber Samurai Donatello, and his fists punch. 2 spring-loaded fusion fists. Look at that weird head, right? Isn't that strange? He looks like a jester. He looks like a court jester. But yeah, so that's complete. That one's slightly rare, I think. Okay, so this is one of the most common figures. It's Undercover Donatello. He's got that little mask. Very convincing. There is a version of this that was made in, I think, only Great Britain, that and towards the end of the line, that had a cloth coat. He still like sculpted everything else, but he has a cloth coat, and that one's really hard to find. I've never found it. I mean, I think it exists, but I've never found it. It's on a lot of lists. Look at that black pizza, because he's undercover. You don't want that colorful pizza showing up and scaring anyone off. But anyway, I'd love to someday find the one with the cloth trench coat without costing me a fortune. Some sort of a weird wind-up toy that just pushes himself forward on these rollers. Probably came from like a McDonald's or something like that. I don't think that this is a Ninja Turtles 3. I'm pretty sure that this is just, well, I think that they had a Ninja Turtles 3 mold in samurai armor that they started with, and then they sort of gave him like, this is like some sort of a bear or wolf. I don't know which it is. It's hard to tell. I think it's a bear. And it's, those armor pieces were definitely new for this sort of samurai version of Donatello. Punk rock Donatello. He plays the guitar. Nothing more punk rock than that, right? And somehow he grew a mohawk. This hairless turtle grew a mohawk. Congratulations, buddy. This guy also might be sort of like one of those Donatellos from the future because of this shiny armor. I'm not sure. Maybe he went into the past. I don't know. Okay. Fireman Donatello with this weird sculpted puppy dog that's attached to his fire hose. Very strange. And he's got this fire retardant that he's holding. And then he's got this whole other hose that's sculpted onto him. That's a lot of hoses. They were just looking for any career they could give a Ninja Turtle. Monster Hunter Donatello. Yeah, this is as though he fights a monster. This is like got an action where you can like sort of tether. You can like loop this around a monster and then tighten it and it grabs him. And as you can see from his chest emblem, though, there's a slash through there. He does not like monsters. This is not Ghostbusters. They didn't have the rights to that yet. And then the monster can go in his backpack. What? So weird. There's your generic Funko Pop Donatello. He's fine. That's good. Not sure what this variation is. Might be a different version of the biker Donatello. Not sure. Not sure. He's strange. Don't know what this one is. This is a transforming Donatello. They've done this like for like each cartoon version. There's like three versions out there, but this is the original one. Not the most convincing in pre-mutated form. It's like, okay, good head, good head. I mean, are we supposed to not see... Like, are we supposed to ignore this? Or the fact that this just looks like clutter? These are supposed to be his forelegs in this version, which from the top sort of looks right. And then there's just these floppy things on like a thin band that are his rear legs. And when he transforms, those goes into his shell. The head swaps into a regular Donatello. These turn into his legs, and his arms pop out here. He doesn't look very good in his baby turtle version. Here's a Loyal Subjects vinyl one that still has some articulation, and he's a keychain. Not bad. This is a half shell Heroes, sort of designed for more kids. Nothing special, just regular vanilla Donatello. This is a toddler Donatello from one of the lines. Not quite sure which version. It probably was the 90s cartoon version. Probably. This is not a Viking, this is a dwarf. Dwarf Donatello. He actually is pretty squat when you look at his legs. Yeah, so sort of a Dungeons and Dragons type of theme there. Wow. And I like this sculpted turtle face that's his emblem. Very, very weird and unique. I love it. Here's a Caveman Donatello. Actually, I don't think this is his. Yeah, and unfortunately, some of these just start to bend naturally. They just sort of want to curl up because it's made with a soft plastic. Not much you can do about it. Caveman. It's kind of funny. There's a different vinyl Donatello. Not sure which one this is, sorry. Can't remember. Here's a baby Donatello from the Nickelodeon computer animated series. I had a version that was in a box with Leonardo earlier, but they had mutagen painted on them. This is the first version that's just totally plain. Here's one that you put in the water and it grows. His shell is pretty large beforehand, so I haven't grown it. I just, yeah, just a novelty. Actually, I think that one was a gift. Sort of a this is like a motocross type of Donatello. He might have had a bike toy that he came with or something. I don't know. Oh, okay. Earlier I had shown like a Donatello I thought might have been the original. This is definitely the original. That other one probably was the Battle Shell one where his back opens up to hold stuff. But this is just the original regular Donatello. The first. They actually designed the toys slightly before the cartoon came out. They had some of the same ideas that they were sharing, like the colored bandanas, the weapons, and the initials on the belts. But the final look they hadn't quite agreed on. So that's why all these early Playmates toys were sort of variations of this instead of looking quite like they did on the original cartoon. Now they tried to remedy that eventually by releasing the Toon version, and they each had sort of like a gimmick. Like this one, there's a button on the back and it makes his headband spin. You know, like Donatello would always get surprised and his headband would spin. This is a lunar landing Donatello, and the reason he has a clear flag there is I have the stickers and I intentionally did not apply them because I knew that eventually they would just sort of dry up and fall off because the places they want you to put it on are all grooved and stuff and there would be too much air getting in there, so I just didn't bother. But yep, lunar landing Donatello. Here is the transforming turtle for the current series, and again, like, this is so obvious, and these back feet aren't convincing at all. At least they gave a really cool head sculpt. I'm impressed with that. But, you know, he's even still wearing his belt. So, like, this whole transforming gimmick doesn't fully work because the baby version is covered in stuff that the adult wears. And it just doesn't look right. Like, does even that look right? No. There's another vinyl variation. I think this one came from my friend Mike Todd. He gave me at least one of the vinyl guys. Here's a Lego Donatello. I have all the TMNT Lego sets, but I sort of keep my Lego separate, so I didn't include that in all this. This guy is purely designed for you to hang on your cords, like your headphones or a USB cord or something like that. That's what he's designed to do. He just hangs on it. Like this is just sort of a placeholder thing. And yeah, he just clings to your cord. This came with something, I don't remember what, but this is a glow-in-the-dark baby turtle. This is... I can't remember what this came with, but this guy's a little hard to find, so I'm happy that I've got one. I love this version here. Look at this. Spock Donatello. That's a pretty awesome mashup. That's from the original line, and to me that fits. Like, yes, Donatello as Spock. That makes sense. I love it. I think this guy's great. That's just a funny idea. And he's got his shirt on over his shell, because how else would he wear a shirt? Yeah. Alright, we're down to my last box of turtles. Who's this guy? This guy is... I guess he's just a strong guy? Is that all it is? Oh, I see. He's got metal springs on all his limbs. This was called like coil force. Yeah. Not a lot you can do with it without like actually stretching those coils too far though. Pretty weird. The Stuff of Nightmares. This guy shoots pizzas. You just slide them in there in his back and he shoots them. And his face is a nightmare. This is just the weirdest, scariest looking guy possible. Wow. This one's got an action feature where he, I forget which. Okay, there it is. So like this foot gets planted on the ground, you twist it in like that, and when you let go, he will actually flip all the way around. But the ground is down here. I gotta like show it up here. So it usually works. It's pretty good. It's well balanced, so that's good. Not superposable, and it's just a gimmick. This is the default Donatello for the current cartoon, not Battle Shell or anything, just regular Donatello. This guy looks a little different, right? This was designed by Jim Lee. Jim Lee, the superstar in the 90s, artist. I mean, he's still sort of a superstar, but he designed a new Donatello, which basically has just tons of sort of cyber armor all over him and really long headbands, a little bit of a cape. Sure, why not? Well, it's outside the box thinking. This is just the regular, 90s cartoon Donatello. I like the designs. Whoops. Yeah, I like these designs a lot. They're great. A little weird, but like I can't help it. I'm a completionist. This is a very elaborate Playmates one based on the cartoon. Very posable. Yeah. Not quite as good as the Revoltech, but as far as Playmates goes, this is definitely like, yeah, top tier. This is really wonderful. I like the look of it. I like that you can pose it a lot. It comes with a base, comes with a bunch of great accessories. This is a great Donatello. This Donatello has a similar feature to another one that I showed, in that he will like reach back, grab these magnetized sticks and fling them forward when you... Okay, but I didn't like load this. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he'll fling it forward. That's pretty cool. It's a nice action feature because it does work when you set it up properly. At first glance, this might look like just a regular Donatello, but he's the first one to have this head-dropping action. Which, means that his head dimensions to his shoulders are different than most of the other versions of Donatello's. It looks a little weird, but they basically pull it off. Yeah, his head's a little small. Usually goes forward a little more. This was Playmate's take at what the original Turtles looked like in the, well, looked in the original comics. I don't think they did a great job. They've got all sorts of sort of detailing on it that I think is supposed to represent cross-hatching. However, in practice, I think it just, you know, when it's three-dimensional like this, it looks like this version of Donatello is covered in scars, and just, it looks really rough. It looks like he's got road rash from, like, you know, a car accident or something like that. And the colors are kind of bright considering its source material. It does have the tail. Almost every Donatello does not have a tail, but this is based on the original drawings, so he's got a tail. Cool idea. Don't love the execution. Here's a version from that 2003 animated movie. I don't know. He's got a bunch of tech on him. It's okay. It's not bad. This Donatello, a little weird, his gimmick. He bends down, and he's got this clearish plastic here. And when you position him right, he snaps together. You pop him on the back, and he'll flip up from like sort of a position like this. He'll just be standing. But it needs this to balance him, and this is like nothing. It doesn't. It's nothing. It's just some weird clear plastic that's attached to his hips, hanging behind him. And also, like, why would he be, you know, in this position? Like, that's sort of weird. He's doing yoga, maybe, and then he springs up. I like that they're thinking of sort of a cool idea of making him spring up into action, but it doesn't really make sense. This is Build-A-Figure Donatello. In other words, these limbs all come apart, and this is technically, this is how it comes, but this is Metalhead, the robot Ninja Turtle, his arm. So you'd have to get a different Ninja Turtle to have Donatello's arm. And you can just sort of mix and match all the good guys and bad guys. Actually, with other lines too, like other superheroes and things like that, have these pop-off limbs and you can mix and match them. It's cute for younger kids. Just got this because I'm a completionist. This is the Donatello from Ninja Turtles 3. Terrible movie. But actually a pretty good figure, especially for its time. Quite detailed. And like I said before, there was that Samurai Donatello from the original line, and it has like a lot of the same sculpt features, and then they just gave him a different hat with like the bear wolf and different shin guards and arm guards. But this is the base figure still. And he's got that sort of thing that April just finds at an antique store that happens to be a time-traveling device. Sure, we'll just go with that, I guess. Hey, I'm here for the construction job. I look like I'm just a brick, right? A brick with a head that's way too far forward on my body. But that's because this guy transforms into a bulldozer, but I don't remember how to do that. I'd have to pull up the directions on Google. He looks funny, especially in profile. Hey, let's go do some work. All right, so you've got this really, really fat Donatello in a kimono. And when you squeeze his legs together, let me make sure that this thing isn't in the way. He does something. He's got an action feature here. He puts on some armor of some sort, which looks like he, I don't know, just dropped some food on his head, but you know, at least the gimmick works. It's just he has to be really, really fat in his regular turtle mode beforehand. But he looks pretty good, I guess, once he's got this armor on. Except this is a very strange mask. We just have to deal with it. I guess I forgot that I did get another Next Mutation Donatello. So I can't find the camo one, but this one comes on, yeah, like a skateboard. Yeah, I think it's got an action feature, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, it just extends. That's all it is. It just extends. So yeah, and he's wearing pants. That's his big difference. But yeah, I'm glad I've got that. Okay, cool. Pretty strange one. One of the very first vinyl turtles that was made by a company, I think, called Batsu. I'm pretty sure this came from Japan. I think that I imported it from Japan. Very, very unique. Super Dawn, this was called. He's a superhero version of a Ninja Turtle. Not from a cartoon or anything, just to make a different toy. This is the Donatello that came with the sub. He's sort of got like breathing apparatus sculpted onto him and a little bit of a visor there. So he can fit in that little sub that I briefly showed earlier. He just lays flat down in it. That's all it is. This is like something like cleanup Donatello or something. He's got this whole scoop here that like you can fill with water and he'll sort of throw water. Definitely one of the weirder ideas, I guess. Yeah, and he's got this little tool here, which looks like an ice pick or something. But yeah, this is soft plastic up here. It's a pump, and not the most exciting. Yeah. Again, from the movie, just has some armor. Not all of his armor. I've got like a few more pieces, but yeah, he's got an interesting head sculpt. They definitely went in a slightly different direction when they created that movie. They gave them all very prominent beaks, I think you'd call them. There's a weird sort of Donatello, huh? He just looks angry. Oh, I'm so mad at the world. This is from the first Michael Bay Donatello film. I was showing you some Out of the Shadows sequel ones earlier, but this is the first one. In the sequel, he loses this sort of samurai belt and a lot of the other sort of accoutrements, but he still has all this sort of junk on his back, which, you know, it just doesn't make sense to me how much stuff they gave him for this movie, because he's doing all the ninja stuff that they are and sliding around on his shell down the sewers, but somehow it doesn't smash up all this like seemingly very delicate equipment that he's got like strapped all over himself. It looks like he just like laced himself up with garbage, and he has both glasses and, you know, like this sort of like night vision binoculars and goggles. It's like he's such a nerd that he's like a 6 eyes or something. Whatever. Cowboy Donatello, not a cigarette in his mouth. That's like a candy cane. They can have guns, and he does have guns. He's got some. This guy's getting a little stiff with age, but he's got a purple handgun in this holster and a purple rifle here. So, yeah, he's armed, but he won't smoke. Don't worry. But a pretty funny design. I like this kind of crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy, look at that. This is him dressed up as a wizard, because I believe there was an episode where they all played something like Dungeons and Dragons at the beginning of the episode. So they actually made this. Like, this comes right off. But if you position it right, he's sort of a Gandalf-esque Ninja Turtle. Pretty funny. Pretty weird. I like it. Here's a Playmates one. Very similar to another one you saw. This is based on the first movie. The other one you saw was based on the second movie. This is based on the first movie. It's just sort of... Actually, he's got a little bit of dust on him now that I look at it. But he's just a little fainter. Yeah, he's got a little dust on him, I guess. Whoops. This is based on his original look, which is kind of nice that we started with one that was based on the original look and we're ending with one that's based on the original look. This sculpt was originally made by Nika. They got permission to do one. And their version had a red headband. That's the only... and it might have been slightly scaled differently, but some company in China, as often happens, must have gotten their hands on the mold and remade their own version. But each of the Ninja Turtles had their colored headbands. And this is a lot easier to get a hold of. I'd love the Nika version, but this version is affordable. And it is interesting, let me, just for comparison's sake, show you. This is what Playmates did based on the original look in the comic books, and this is what, you know, Nika had created. And I mean, the difference is pretty stark. Like, if you've seen the Ninja Turtles comic, you sort of know both of these are going for the look, but this one actually captured it. I mean, the limbs are way different, from the feet up through like the neck. The chest has, you know, just much more believable detail here. Pull it up a little closer. Because they actually bothered with a paint application, you know. This is just flat. This actually has some shading and stuff. So all those little sort of pockmarks and stuff actually feel real in this. In this, it just sort of looks like he's been in a car accident. Anyway, so I kind of like this one. I think that this is a very good representation of what they looked like originally. And I was a big fan of that. I discovered the comics around 1986. They'd been out for about 2 years. Somewhere around there is when I discovered them. I found my first comic book store, and I just thought the Ninja Turtles were pretty cool, pretty weird. And so I've just ever since really liked the idea of Ninja Turtles. I don't always love every iteration of them. Some of the movies are pretty bad, and certainly the live-action TV show was bad. Cartoons are generally pretty good. Most of the comics are pretty good. Some of the action figures are very cool and unique, but some of them are kind of crappy. But I'm just sort of going for a completionist. I'm trying to get all the Donatello variations, and I'm on my way. There's obviously some that are missing. Always on the lookout for them. So anyway, if you're a fan of Ninja Turtles, Donatello, comic books, whatever, the cartoons, the movies, thank you for sharing your interest with me and for watching my silly little video on my large and weird collection. Take care.